Dr. Fauci, only 13% of...
Hold on one second. We have a process here. I'm not calling out on people who yell. And you're being disrespectful to your colleagues, and you're being disrespectful to our guests. I will not call on you if you yell, and also you're taking time off the clock because Dr. Fauci has to leave in a couple of minutes. I'm done. I'm not getting into a back and forth with you. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Dr. Fauci,
but she's
only
asking a great question.
You're not being me. Go ahead, Jeremy.
You ask your question, you should allow her to answer the
Yeah,
question.
Jeremy.
She asked a valid
Jeremy.
question, Dr. Fauci, on the origin of COVID-19.
It is not your turn. It is not your turn.
You come on the same people. That's the thing. You can't read a press briefing. You need to call from people across the room. She has a valid question. She's asking about the origin of COVID-19.
I hear the question.
And Dr. Fauci is the best person to answer.
I hear your question, but we're not doing this the way you want it. This is a disrespectful. It is. I'm done. Simon, I'm done. Simon, I'm done. I'm done with you right now. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're taking time away from your colleagues. Go ahead.
Only 13% of adults have gotten this updated bivalent booster. 78% of adults have completed their primary series. Which of those numbers is more important in your mind in terms of anticipating how bad this winter surge could be, if there is one, and the number of hospitalizations and deaths? And then a second question for you as well.
Yeah, Jeremy, they're both important, so I don't want to say one is more and then diminish the other. But the people who are most at risk are the unvaccinated. I mean, we have 68% of our population is vaccinated. You know, that means that we have 32% of the population that's not. And if you look at the data, they are just profoundly striking of the curves of death and hospitalization of unvaccinated versus vaccinated and boosted. So there is a relatively smaller difference in vaccinated and unboosted versus vaccinated plus boosted. That doesn't mean you shouldn't get boosted, but the real danger is in the people who have not been vaccinated. So that's where we expect, if we're going to see a problem this winter, it's going to be among those people.
And then as you reflect on the end of your time and decades in government service, and particularly your handling of the pandemic, did you imagine that this virus would still, as we are here today, be killing 200 to 300 people a day?
No.
Did you imagine, the level of cases, and what is your outlook for the future of this virus as you look in the next several years?
No, I did not imagine that. I don't think any of my colleagues imagined that we would see a 3-year saga of suffering and death and 1 million Americans losing their lives. The thing that was most disturbing is something I referred to an answer to one of the other questions, was the continuation of multiple variants evolving over time, completely unlike something like measles. And that's the reason why I gave the measles comparison. Where I think we're going is that sooner or later, and I hope it's sooner, we're going to equilibrate to a low level when there's enough background cross protection that unless we get a completely far way out different variant, we're likely going to see a continued lowering and lowering. Maybe we're going to see blips at winter and stuff, but hopefully it gets down. The message that Dr. Jarrah and I are trying to get to you today is that we can make that happen much sooner by vaccinating and by keeping updating on your booster. It's just really as simple as that. We're going to get there. We can get there with less suffering if we use the interventions that we have. If you want to let nature take its course, we're ultimately going to get there, but we're going to lose a lot more people than we need to.
Let me just add one more quick thing to that. I mean, look, there are hundreds of thousands of Americans who have died this year because people were under-vaccinated, people did not get people weren't boosted. And it is not blaming the people who died, it is blaming the fact that we still have a lot of people out there spreading misinformation, undermining people's confidence in vaccines. There was a paper out last week that showed that death numbers in many European countries were much lower because their booster rates are much higher. So the key point here is, at this point, we can prevent nearly every death in America from COVID. But we can't see this as like a horse race of let's get an anti-vaxxer and let's get we know what the evidence is. The science on this is crystal clear. People get their booster. If you get infected, the chances you're going to end up super sick in the hospital is exceedingly low. That's the message. People need to get their updated vaccine.
If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you'll be sure to see similar videos from Blaze TV with the added bonus of signaling YouTube that your voice and opinion still matters. And if you're looking for more great conservative content, check out one of the 2 videos suggested here.